finding winning trades isn't the difficult part. The hard part is doing it over and over again on a consistent basis. Develop consistency in your trading and you can make fabulous returns. The fourth C stands for cash flow. This may not seem like a principle per se, but we've put it in this list because we need to differentiate between the concept of buy and hold investing versus what we teach in our program, which is generating cash flow from the markets on a weekly basis. So, these four C's, confidence, control, consistency, and cash flow, are the building blocks to your successful trading business and the foundation on which we mentor our students. And just remember, there's no need whatsoever to be a slave to your computer. You want to become a better trader so that you can have more time and freedom to do the things you really want to do in life. At Trading Concepts, we've done all the work for you, so you can cut your learning time by several years. Now, let's move on to the chart lessons so that I can give you some specific examples of what I teach in our Lifetime Mentoring program. First, understand that every trade will follow a four-step sequence. 1. Determining context of the market. 2. Determining a valid trade setup. 3. Entering the trade. And number 4, managing the trade. Let's talk briefly on number 1, determining context of the market. Before we place a trade, we need to determine what state the market is in and what approach needs to be taken to trade that particular kind of market. Now, this is where so many other programs go wrong. So many of these programs teach ineffective and unreliable methods that aren't based on sound trading logic and price action. Instead, they are derived on indicators and computer-generated formulas and calculations that are usually over-optimized and will not work in reality. So, what you get is this. You won't believe how many traders that have come to me over the years and their charts look like this. They're all over the place, and not surprisingly, so are their trading results. What they think will give them more clarity in their trading actually multiplies their confusion. If the chart you're trading right now even remotely resembles this, I have some very strong words of advice for you. Get rid of all this junk. Clear the slate. Clear your head and start over. I have yet to meet a trader that was consistently profitable for a significant amount of time by trading a barrel full of indicators thrown on a chart. Successful traders usually are masters of one or two carefully selected indicators, and they know when these indicators are most effective. But more importantly, they know the limitations of their indicators, and they know when to switch the tools they use based on market conditions. No tool or indicator is good in all market situations all the time, and it's critical that you learn the difference if you're going to succeed in trading. Let's say, for example, that you were actually trading this chart. Now, right here, you're getting a sell signal with this oscillator, which is fine in this particular instance. As a side note, why you need these other 5 indicators piled on top of each other is beyond me. But anyway, this is a decent signal from this oscillator, and the trade would be a successful one. But what happens in a market like this, a trending one, using the same type of tools? I'll tell you what happens. You end up getting killed. Just in case you think more is better, as you can see, piling on more technical indicators isn't any more effective on this chart. The end result is the same, another losing trade. And it's the same for a downtrending market. Take a quick look at these signals. What you have is a few buy signals based on what's called bullish divergence on these two indicators. The two indicators you see here, stochastics and MACD, are probably the two most widely used indicators. Again, it's critical that you understand when and where to use these indicators. More importantly, you need to know when not to use them. In the Trading Concepts Lifetime Mentoring Program, you will learn exactly how to do this. Remember, different market conditions require different tools and methods. Without a firm understanding of price action, you will not know what tools to use. This is where so many other methods fall short. They simply teach indicator signals and not how to understand and trade a market. Look, learning indicator signals does not make a good trader any more than learning how to turn on a light switch makes a person an electrician. Indicators are simply tools. A carpenter with good tools can make good things because he knows how to use and apply those tools. But the same good tools in the hands of a person who does not know how to use them will not make them a good carpenter. You need to learn what state the market is in, what tools to use to trade that market, and how to apply those tools. In our lifetime mentoring program, we'll be with you every step of the way, so you will know how and when to use these tools, and when not to use them. The foundation we build here at Trading Concepts is the complete understanding of price action to determine the context of the market. Let's go back to what we were talking about earlier, the 4-step sequence to all successful trades. Number 2, determining a valid trade setup. If you get nothing else out of this DVD except for this next concept that I'm about to teach you, it could very well save you thousands of dollars in trading losses. Here it is. Never mistake a trade setup for a trade entry. They are two separate and distinct entities. Again, this is where a lot of traders fail. They will simply trade setups. In other words, as soon as they see a setup according to their criteria, they jump into the market. This is a mistake. At Trading Concepts, we teach setups and entries as two separate concepts because they really are. For example, we may see a valid setup according to our criteria and yet still not have an actual entry into a trade. Let me give you an example of how points 1 and 2 are interconnected and give you an example of what you should not be doing. Now, let's take a look at this chart. Here again, we have sell signals according to these indicators. And as you've seen, this would result in losing trades. Here's what you should have known. First, in determining the context of the market, you would realize that the market was in a strong bullish mode. Therefore, your first conclusion is that you will not adhere to any sell signals on an indicator whatsoever. Remember what I said earlier, it's just as important to know when you should not be using an indicator. So, now we know that we have the context of the market and we're looking for step number 2, a valid setup according to our criteria. As you can see, we do have a valid setup right here. But I want to emphasize again that we do not mistake a setup for an entry. We have additional criteria that must be met first before we can enter the market. As you can see here, we would in fact be in the market long. But it's important to remember that in hindsight this trade would have worked out. However, what if the market had gone down instead of up? Had you simply entered once you saw the setup, you would have entered a losing trade. This is why it's critical to separate a setup from an entry.